I'm a board certified psychiatrist and have helped over 260 PMHNPs master psychiatry. And so in this video, we're going to be covering how to increase your productivity for new PMHNPs. So when you are a newer early career PMHNP, like 1 to 3 years out, something that you've got to get to terms with is that, okay, you're going to be working, but you're going to feel overwhelmed by how complex the patients are and how many you're seeing. And so you have to play catch up with all the knowledge that you have to learn to be able to treat those patients. And that's exactly how our residency experience was, because we went from medical school, 4 years of that, to residency. So 4 years of that, where now I'm pretty much seeing patients, but I'm also learning on the job. So it's like you spend all your time during your day seeing patients, and then you have to learn psychiatry, all the medications and the treatments and the diagnoses and therapy and all this other stuff that comes with psychiatry. You have to learn that. So what I had to do was I had to learn how to be efficient and how to increase my productivity so that I could both learn and see the patients. And so that's why I want to share my system with you. So the first thing that I want to share is that you want to use every patient as a patience equal learning. So what does this mean? So if someone is a below average clinician, they just kind of view, okay, I'm going to go see the patients, kind of get it done, and then move on. But someone who really wants to maximize psychiatry, they use patients as an opportunity to learn. Every patient, you can learn something. Let's say a patient's on some medication regimen, you don't know what it is. You look it up. Let's say they have X diagnoses. You look it up. Let's say they're on treatment. You're considering changing the treatment. Well, you look up the treatments. So let's say the patient acts in a certain way that you're not sure how to do. Well, then you figure out what to do, right? You think about it. Let's say a patient interaction does not go well. You think about, okay, why did it not go well? Let's say it does go well. You think about, okay, what did I do in this interaction to make it go well? Let's say you're thinking about, okay, what plan do I want from this patient 3 months or 6 months down the line? You think about it. So the point is that you want to use patients as an opportunity to learn. Every single patient, you should be looking something up with. And this is what I did for all of my patients. And you also want to write it down too. So I'm going to write down look up and write lessons. Basically, every patient, you can write down the lessons that you learned from it. So that way, you have your repository of notes. If you don't do this, then it's going to take you so much longer to master psychiatry, and you have to see the patients regardless. So you might as well try to learn as much as you can from the patients. So that's one. The next thing that I want to share, so we'll say that's one. So then number two. So number two thing is downtime. Downtime, learn. So you want to be learning during downtime. So every time when you see a patient, or whatever your work day is, you're going to have downtime, whether it's a lunch break or there's like a no-show or a 15-minute gap. And what do most of us do? We just pull up our phones and we start scrolling. But that 15-30 minutes, what if we instead read half a book chapter? What if instead we read the chapter on a medication? What if we look up a video on X diagnoses? We can use this downtime that we have in between patients and our workday to learn. And this will help skyrocket your productivity immensely, because now you're not wasting time. Time just spent scrolling is wasting, unless of course you're watching my content. But other than that, you can take this downtime to actually learn and try to master psychiatry. And this is what I teach some of our students in our program, is that, okay, this downtime, like just pull up one of our videos and start viewing that, or pull up one of our handouts and start reading this. Because when you do this, like, you're going to be able to maximize the rate that you learn at too. And you can use that same time to get much more effective at learning. So those are the two things I wanted to cover there, right? And then one more example for this is that you can also learn from downtime, not with patients. So this is also during like errands, cooking, eating, etc., etc. So this, you can listen to audio. So this is what I do personally. I remember when I was in residency, there was like a psychiatry podcast that I used to listen to. And so basically, whenever I was commuting, whenever I was eating, Whenever I was, just like running errands, I'd be doing laundry, I'd be listening to that podcast. Now, like I still listen to psychiatry content, I listen to business content when I wake up, when I'm doing my morning routine, when I'm eating. When I lived in New York and I was doing errands, I would be doing this kind of stuff too. Point being is that you can use all this downtime that you have to learn. Don't waste your downtime. So, number three, so we talked about this, is that you want to buy back your time. So, we all spend time doing stuff that does not help us. I mentioned cooking and eating here, but I'll mention it again here. Cooking, cleaning, laundry, maybe even some groceries, buying, purchasing, so like shopping. These are all errands that you may not need to actually do. So cooking, like, you could get delivered meals, or you could order a lot of stuff, or you do very simple meals, you don't spend an hour cooking something complex. Groceries, right? You can order groceries instead of shopping. Cleaning, you can hire someone to clean for you. Laundry, you can get laundry done and delivered. Purchasing, now with Amazon and Walmart delivery and things, you don't have to go to the store and buy stuff. So the whole point is that all this time that you're wasting here, you could have spent learning psychiatry. And this, you think that you're saving money by doing all this stuff? No, because if you paid for all this stuff and you spent the time learning psychiatry, you'll get better at your job. And so if you get better at your job, you can get promoted to make more money. You can see more patients efficiently. You can go on to some other practice. You can start your own practice, whatever it might be. By cutting out all this time, you can get more productivity to actually become better at psychiatry. So that's number three. And then number four is having mentors. So in residency, we got really lucky is because we had mentors supervising all of our patients. So when I worked in the inpatient unit, I had attending psychiatrists. When I worked outpatient, I had attending psychiatrists to staff with. When I did substance abuse, when I did community mental health, like we always had attending psychiatrists to staff our cases with and learn from and see, how they practice. And so that's how I learned, is because you can't just learn from a book. Like a book doesn't have the real life patient examples that you need. They just have theoretical information. But only real life info is going to help you in real life experience, where, like, let's say you see a patient and you're like, I'm not sure whether to take X direction or Y direction. The mentor can be like, oh yeah, based on my experience, I think X direction is better, or I think Y is better in this case. So that's why you want to make sure that you have mentors. And so one of the ways to do that is in our PMHNP Academy too, where we've had over 260 students go through so far. If this is an area you want to improve, definitely check that out. Number five is now some of the biological stuff. So sleeping. You have to make sure you're getting an excellent night of sleep every night. So I recommend 8 to 10 hours per night. And the reason is because sleep is where your body heals, it detoxes, it consolidates memories, it recharges, all of that stuff. And the better your sleep is, the better your brain's going to function, the more productive you're going to be, and the better you're going to learn psychiatry. So sleep. And I touch on this in other videos as well. So next is diet. So for diet, what I recommend is the optimal food, brain food, to help increase your brain. So what I personally do is I do low simple carb and low processed. Like my diet mainly is protein, meat, and vegetables, Greek yogurt, berries, a little bit of dessert, but just a little bit. But the whole point is that, I've cut out a lot of the simple carbs like bagels, pasta, rice, bread. I don't eat any of that stuff. In Indian culture, roti, that's something common. I don't eat that. And then processed food, I'm not trying to eat like processed meats or like pizza and things, because all that stuff is going to worsen how productive your brain is. So I try to eat clean, nutritious whole foods, because that's how my brain stays the sharpest. So that's what's worked for me. So I urge you to really focus on your diet if you want to be as productive as possible, because you're going to eat anyway. So you might as well eat stuff that helps you, helps your goals, rather than hinders your goals. And then the last one is exercise. Honestly, this is something that kept me sane throughout med school, was that I had a regular exercise routine. and I refused to sacrifice it. And I was like, you know what? Like, even if I don't spend an hour and two extra studying, I'd rather get my workout in. And I've continued that pattern throughout my whole life. Since then, even when I was in residency, I had to, I made sure to work out either like after work or before work. Like I remember when I was doing consult liaison rotations, that would start at 8 a.m. It would go on to 5 p.m. And so I would work out in the mornings. I would get up at 5 and then go work out. And then I would go to the gym, or then I would go to work, and then all of that. And I just felt like my day was much better and more productive when I had worked out. Working out increases BDNF, increase BDNF, and it increases brain flow or blood flow. BDNF is a neurotrophic factor. Basically, it's a molecule that helps the brain regenerate neurons. So highly, highly worth it there. So yeah, this is the productivity system that I want to share with you, that especially if you're a new provider, you're trying to struggle balance with all this stuff, this can help you to really get your life pretty much like get everything streamlined, so that way you can focus on what matters, which is mastering psychiatry. So I hope this is helpful, and I'll see you in the next video.